What's goody? Hey, man. So, as promised, today we are going over my NFL award predictions, my NFL predictions for the 2024-2025 season. I was going to watch this video myself and then kind of write down what my predictions were and tell y'all how they age. But instead of doing that, what I'm actually going to do is just go ahead and watch the video with y'all, man. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead, let's lock it in, and let's see how either intelligent I was looking before this season started or how foolish I looked before this season started. And I just went back and I rewatched like my playoff prediction video. And, first of all, I thought I predicted it to be Ravens-Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I actually predicted Ravens-Niners, which I don't remember doing that, but I could have sworn I predicted Ravens-Eagles, which is something I probably changed after that video was uploaded, but on the internet, I said Ravens-Niners. So that means that I was wrong for both the NFC participant and the AFC participant, which is something that hasn't happened to me since I really started picking them, since I really started staying super locked in with football and sports and everything like that, and just football and basketball mostly, but just ever since I started really doing that, and especially since, like, I've been in college where me and the homies have been playing fantasy football every year. We go every week. We pick every single game from each week to week on an NFL schedule and do the same thing in the playoffs. That's the first time that I've not only got, like, I got the winner wrong last year because last year I picked the 49ers to win, but I got the participants right. I thought it would be Chiefs-Niners again, except that time I thought the Niners would win, right? I was wrong. And then this year, I thought I predicted Ravens-Eagles, so I was like, hey, man, at least I got one of the participants right. But if I predicted Ravens-Niners, I didn't get nothing right. So that's really hashtag embarrassing. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's watch this video and let's see what's up, man. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying a lot of these were tough for me to pick simply because there was so much player movement this offseason and there were so many. I didn't intro this video at all. Wow. Players and teams in the NFL right now. Haircut wasn't too crazy. And also, I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to pick all pros and everything like that because that's just too difficult to do. You never know what's going to happen with injuries and everything like that. Like even picking the awards is difficult because again, you never know what's going to happen with injuries. You never know what's going to happen, right? Especially for these players that are dependent on other positions for a lot of their success, like a running back, like a receiver. You know what I'm saying? It's like you never know what's going to happen. Maybe their quarterback gets injured. Like a lot of the reason I didn't pick Justin Jefferson, spoiler alert, for Offensive Player of the Year is because, well, first, okay, for you, buddy, I'm not sure he'll be in Minnesota much longer. Anyways, with all that being said, let's talk about my pick for MVP. This might be boring. I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP this year, and let me tell you why. I expect the Chiefs to be a top 2 seed in the AFC this year, and they have a very good shot at being the 1 seed. And Mahomes is coming off his worst statistical season as a starter last year. The 1 seed. But keep in mind, that being his worst season, it was still a 4,000-plus yard season with nearly 30 touchdowns and a Super Bowl win plus Super Bowl MVP. So that being his last season in and of itself is already insanity. But anyways, we also have to remember that Mahomes' stats would have looked a lot better if his receiver simply could have caught the damn ball. That's true. This year, and now going into this year, they showed up the real only weakness on that team, especially on the offense, by getting Hollywood Brown missed a whole bunch of time. And Rishi Rice tore his ACL, trading up to get the Bills pick. Again, I don't know how they did that, but anyways, they got I forgot Rishi Rice tore his ACL. That means that Chiefs team is probably going to be even better next year. Wow, how they did that. Wow. But anyways, to get Xavier about that. Not only did you get those 2 guys' help, but you still have some continuity with guys like Rishi Rice, Pacheco, Kelsey. Those are still Kelsey's guys there who Mahomes might need to hang it up. Who Mahomes has already won with twice now. Well, Rishi Rice once, but he's won twice with Pacheco and 3 times with Travis Kelce. He trusts these guys. I get that Travis Kelce started to show some of those signs of regression this year. Oh, yeah, he's showing them. Be relied upon as much now that they have 3 genuine good wide receivers, or at least we expect that those will be 3 genuine good wide receivers. Yeah. You never know with a rookie like Xavier Worthy, but I'm expecting those guys to be at least 3 solid. Those guys should be definitely better next year. Rishi Rice is really good. I feel like people are forgetting about that because he's so injured. But let's keep in mind the Chiefs' defense will likely be a bit worse with the loss of L'Jarius Sneed. So Mahomes and the offense are going to have to pick up that slack that the defense ended up still offense being bad last year. Being the better part of the team. Let's not act like Patrick Mahomes isn't capable of doing that. I think you should be looking for potentially Mahomes to have another 5,000-plus yard season this year, which he's already had 2 of in his 6 years as a starter, which is disgusting. And yet another MVP for his trophy case. I think this is his MVP to lose. Not really, because the league is so damn good. Like, if you said Lamar, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you said Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't really be mad at you. If you said Lamar, there's a lot of guys. I think Lamar wouldn't be mad at you. Like, there's a lot of guys you could say. If the Bills somehow still win the AFC East, and you said Josh Allen, I wouldn't be mad at you. Like, there's a lot of guys you could say. The Bills did end up winning the AFC East. But let's move on to Offensive Player of the Year, where I'm going to pick. We're going to go over to the NFC, and I'm going to pick a Penn State brother by the name of Saquon Barkley. I was right here. Penn State white flag, man. Yeah. A little Penn State brother by the name of Saquon Barkley. Now, this might be an unpopular. Okay, I don't need to see my reasoning. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. For some guys like that, but like that.
but I'm going to stick by my pick of Saquon. Let's move on to defensive player of the
Good
year.
pick,
where I'm
boy.
picking another Penn State guy. I'm going to pick Micah Parsons.
I was wrong. It
Because
ended up
this one
being.
was also
Let me
tough
talk
because
about this,
it-
by the way. It ended up being Patrick Surtain. The season that Patrick Surtain just had was so remarkable, bro. Like there was games. I don't think there was a single game where he allowed more than like 50 or 75 receiving yards, like him when he's covering someone. He didn't. I don't think he had a single game where he allowed more than 50 receiving yards. And if he did, I'm 99.9% sure he didn't have one where he allowed more than 75. So like that is just such like a Revis Island damn near level season. Now, I'm not comparing him to Revis Island, but I'm just saying he had such a crazy season that like the defensive player of the year awards to me wasn't even thought of for like the last few weeks of the season. Like to me, it was completely Patrick Surtain's award. Nobody else to me even had a chance. So yeah, man, Patrick Surtain just a phenomenal season. I was bugging with the Micah Parsons pick. Micah missed some time this year. The Cowboys weren't good this year. There was just a lot that happened over there in Dallas, and there's none of it was
T.J.
good.
Watt, Nick Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, all those guys who I think
Damn,
have a
I just
great
picked
shot at
all
winning
the
this award.
ends.
And
Look at
that's-
Cole in the
I
background,
literally
man. Look
just
at the
forgot about
dog.
Myles
Look at the
Garrett,
dog
who
in the
also has a great
background.
shot
I
at
miss
winning this
him.
award. Those are
boy
all
back
dominant
home,
edge
man.
rushers at a similar position to
Yeah,
like
okay, yeah, I was
do,
wrong.
which I believe he can do. Crucial en route to him winning his first ever defensive player of the year.
Yeah, he didn't win it.
Moving on to coach of the year, I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell. I know some
I don't
people are
remember
picking
who
other
won
guys.
Coach of the Year. Did Dan Campbell didn't win it though? I don't remember who won. Kevin O'Connell won. Yeah, dude, they won like 14 games with Sam Darnold at quarterback. I'm not mad at all at him winning
Matt
it. You could have made the
Eberflus,
case
I've
for
seen a
the
lot of
one
love from
seed and it
different
being
guys.
Dan
I've
Campble,
seen some
everything like
Matt
that. His
LaFleur.
team has
I've seen
improved
that-
every single year with him being the Detroit Lions head coach. But man, like that looks so creepy what I'm doing with my eye in this way that I paused it. Wow, but. Yeah, I'm not mad at the Dan Campbell pick. It wasn't like it was a foolish pick. Like it wasn't one of those picks like the Micah Parsons one where it aged so poorly. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't one of those.
There's really
So
like
that's good.
there's a good 8 coaches you could pick here, and I'm not going to be mad at you, but I'm going to pick Dan Campbell because this team.
To be real, nobody was picking Kevin O'Connell to be coach of the year before the season started. Nobody was expecting for the Vikings to do that, and especially not after J.J. McCarthy tore his ACL and we saw that Sam Darnold was going to be the starter. We for damn sure didn't expect nothing from the Vikings. So, congrats to them. Congrats to Kevin O'Connell. Hey man, you were the Rams offensive coordinator when we won a ring. I will forever be a fan of yours for that. So, congrats to you.
Even a ton of other team 7 wins. I think that's because considering the roster, if he can get that team to 7-8 wins, I think he has an outside chance at it.
Wait, what did I just say?
A lot considering the roster, if he can get that 7 wins, Carolina, like if he can make that team 7 wins, I think that.
Did I just say that if a coach could come in and get a Carolina team like that to 7? I mean, the Carolina was so bad last year and even really this year until Bryce Young had his resurgence that like 7 wins for them would have been like a phenomenal achievement, right? But like that's not good enough to get you in the coach of the year race. Like I don't even know what I would, especially not first. Like it might get you in the race, have an outside shot. Like I said, I guess that's technically what I said. I didn't really say he was going to win. I kind of said he had an outside shot.
Because
Which isn't
considering
crazy,
the
but like
roster, if he can get
looking
that team to
back on
7-8
it, it
wins,
sounds
I
kind of
think he
crazy
has
that
an
I would
outside
say
chance
that.
at it. I think honestly, we'll have to think about the turnaround of the Lions. Now, granted, some Matt Eberflus love, but you would also have to think maybe that's more Caleb Williams than Matt Eberflus. But you can't give all the
Matt
credit to a
Eberflus lost his
rookie
job.
QB. The same way that, you know what I'm saying, D'Amico Ryans almost won Coach of the Year last year. He was one of those top 3 guys in Coach of the Year, which I voted Matt Eberflus, and I also don't think the Bears are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to
They
be just
didn't
outside
get
the
close to
playoffs,
making the
which is- I don't
playoffs.
think it's going to be good enough for him to win Coach of the Year. But for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to take Caleb Williams. This one is going to be the least that I talk about because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. He's in a great situation. He's looked very good.
See, the thing with me was that I was always a big Jaden Daniels fan, but I thought that Caleb Williams was going into such a significantly better situation to the point that I thought that Caleb Williams would have the Rookie of the Year race won pretty much because his numbers would look pretty good just because of how good his team was, and he would take that team from a team that was terrible the year before to at least have some wins, even though that wouldn't completely only be him. The team was so good that, like, wins are a stat that's treated like a quarterback stat. So I thought the media would just be like, hey, he changed his team from this to this. The team is better, blah, 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 all this stuff. Caleb Williams has looked pretty good. His stats are pretty good. I didn't expect for Jaden Daniels to just go out there and be one of the greatest rookie QBs ever and make it to the conference championship in his first year. I didn't expect Washington to finish anything outside of last or second to last in their division. And the only, the fact that they did what they did is like beyond impressive for Jaden Daniels, because I was a big Jaden Daniels fan of him coming out of college, but I never, ever, 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 ever would have expected that tonight, bro. Like, I mean, not tonight, would have expected that for this season. Like, that was crazy.
I know it's the preseason, but still, they got the first overall pick because of a trade with the Panthers, and their team has a lot of good pieces, and they got better in the offseason. So I'm going to pick Caleb Williams, and I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Damn, I overrated the Bears.
If I look at the odds,
I low-key think everybody overrated the Bears like hell. Like, I thought me saying the Bears wouldn't make the playoffs was me being, like, tempered. Like, was me being kind of, like, middle ground type of minded, because I saw people saying they were going to make the playoffs. There's people saying they were going to, that they were going to finish, like, second in the division, all this stuff, right? And I was never really on that train, but, like, I thought this was me making a level-headed prediction. I could have never expected for them to be last in that division and just be so much worse than the other three teams in that division, especially not with Sam freaking Darnold starting at quarterback for the Vikings. I didn't see that coming, but I'm not mad at myself for that because I don't think anybody saw that coming, so whatever.
He has a very, continuing on with rookies for Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one was tough simply because the top of this draft was mostly offensive players, and I'm not super high on a lot of these guys defensively that were in this draft. But I'm going to pick another Lion in Terrion Arnold, and I believe Terrion Arnold is very good.
So the thing with me was that I wasn't like the biggest fan of anybody defensively in this class. Like, my couple favorite prospects were probably Terrion Arnold, Jared Verse, Chop Robinson, just because I watched him a ton at Penn State. Like, I was a big Chop Robinson fan. And so it's like those were pretty much my three favorite guys defensively coming into this draft. And the fact that Jared Verse did what he did on the Rams, went on there and absolutely had a rampage of a season when we needed it after losing Aaron Donald, is such a big thing, especially when he was, like the 15th pick. That's massive. All props to Jared Verse, and as a Rams fan, it made me super, super happy to see you win that award. And then also as a Penn State fan, it made me super, super happy to see Chop Robinson finish 5th. So I was wrong with the Terrion Arnold pick. I kind of thought he would just have good corner numbers as like a corner one on a winning team. That's kind of what my rationale here was. He ended up being one of the most penalized players. It was like the same way that when I watched him at Bama, his penalties kind of flew off the screen or kind of like popped off the screen to me, was the same way in the NFL. I felt like there were definitely games, there were definitely moments where it was like once he gets that first penalty, he's just going to get more. And that's not necessarily the best thing.
Physical corner. He's going to be a guy that can tackle. He's going to be a guy that can play the ball. He's going to be a guy that might have some penalties, might have some of those moments where he costs you, but he's going to have more good moments than bad if I had to guess. And defensive back was really the only weakness for the Lions last year. And if he can come in and he can really shore that up and be like their corner one and have a good rookie year, and that secondary can be one of the top 10 in the league, especially with him leading in that position. I believe he will have done enough to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, even if his stats aren't great, in large part because I'm not super high on many of these defensive rookies, like I said. But another guy to look out for here is another guy that's in the NFC North, in Dallas Turner. I'm a big fan of his, and I think he should have gone earlier in the draft.
You know what? Dallas Turner is a name that I haven't heard. I don't know how his season was. That kind of makes me want to look that up. I completely forgot about Dallas Turner out of Bama, bro. I was a fan of his at Bama, actually. Dallas Turner was definitely one of my 3-4 favorite prospects this year. Defensively, I completely forgot about him. He had 20 tackles, okay, 3 sacks, an interception, okay. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have numbers that like popped off the screen, anything crazy, but like wasn't too bad. Wasn't like he was just out here ass, you know what I'm saying? Like, now these did he get hurt or did he get hurt or he suffered a knee injury? Knee sprain, he missed the following game. So he missed a few games maybe, but he didn't like have a season-ending injury. It looks like.
Oh. But
maybe he just.
What do I know?
Isn't what I thought he would be.
I thought about Byron Murphy, the Texas D tackle who went to the Seahawks. I thought about him.
I was a fan of Byron Murphy coming out of college.
I'm just not sure that a D
not more than
he would have
3-4 guys
amount of tackles for loss and sacks and everything like that. And I don't think the Seahawks are really built like that to get him to where he can get those numbers.
He did have a good year though. I believe he had a good year. He might even finish top 5 in the voting.
I don't know if I'm saying
maybe a Colts. Maybe
I'm not super big on him.
We're looking things up together today.
I don't know. I don't know enough about him. To be honest, it's not that I'm not super big on him. I just don't know enough about him, so I'm not gonna pick him. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Terrion Arnold. And last but not least, I'm gonna pick comeback player of the year here to be Aaron Rodgers. I thought about Nick Chubb, and there are other guys that I'm sure I'm missing, not that I'm forgetting.
Quinyon Mitchell
I couldn't think about, but I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, so he did not have the season.
Actually, the first initial guy.
That man did not have the season I thought he had. Let me back up because I didn't hear a word myself just said. In fact, I thought I paused myself.
To be honest, it's not that I'm not super big on him. I just don't know enough about him, so I'm not gonna pick him. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Terrion Arnold.
Not
And
a
last
good
but not least, I'm going to pick comeback player of the year here to be Aaron Rodgers. I thought about Nick Chubb, and there are other guys that I'm sure
I don't even know who it was. I don't know who it
couldn't
was.
think about, but
I don't really
I'm
care.
going to pick Aaron Rodgers, and the second guy I thought about, actually the first initial
Aaron
guy I
Rodgers
thought about
ended up
was
being
Nick Chubb,
ass.
just because that was the first.
Aaron
injured guy
Rodgers
that
ended
came
up being ass. He's not on the Jets anymore. The Jets are out here making thank you posts, even though the man didn't do a damn thing for him while they were in the franchise, while he was with the franchise and everything like that. It was just, wow.
And obviously does. I think it's far more likely that Rodgers looks like himself more than Chubb looks like himself, especially because
You
Chubb
were
is
wrong. Call me.
like he's not like a super mobile quarterback. It's not like, and also Rodgers is also Wednesday's video. I think it was Wednesday's video, which also on Wednesday's video. And I think it will look even better for Rodgers considering how bad the Jets looked last year without Nick Chubb literally comes out
Okay,
and
so
looks
that's
just
it.
like he did.
Hey,
before
man,
injury.
those were my 2024-2025 NFL predictions. Like, it wasn't... I definitely didn't do, like, my worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely wasn't like, oh, it was a terrible video. I predicted everything wrong, blah, 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 blah. I guess the biggest flex is really just getting Offensive Player of the Year right with Saquon Barkley. And now that I think about it, I'm not sure that I got a single other pick right. So maybe I am ass. Wait, maybe I'm washed. But, like, I mean, it wasn't like the things that I were picking were, like... I wasn't picking things that were like absolutely unreasonable. Like the Micah Parsons pick aged terribly. The Terry Arnold pick didn't age great. The Aaron Rodgers pick aged terribly. But like Aaron Rodgers at the very least for comeback player of the year, that was a very reasonable pick at the time. Patrick Mahomes for MVP, he finished what, third in the voting? That's a very reasonable pick. Dan Campbell finished what, second or third in the voting? Very reasonable pick. Now, some of these things weren't so reasonable, but like Caleb Williams was going into one of the best situations that we thought ever for a rookie quarterback. So like it wasn't unreasonable to pick him. So like while my picks ended up only being what, like 1 for 7, 1 for 8, I'm not crazy mad about it because it's like there was definitely picks that aged terribly, but then there was other picks where it's like, okay, I can see how you got there. Things just didn't shake out the way you thought they would. Things just didn't pan out the way you thought they would pan out. So let me know what y'all thought about this. Let me know how y'all feel. Let me know if y'all think I'm absolutely ass at this. Let me know if y'all are with me, giving me a little bit of leeway just because it wasn't like the predictions were like absolutely insane. You know what I'm saying? Now that just shows you that predictions and rankings and all that type of stuff is super, super difficult. That's why I try to never really clown someone about their like predictions or rankings unless it's something absolutely blasphemous, because it's like it's so hard to do, especially in a sport like football where there's so many players, there's so many unknowns. You never know when a guy who was on the practice squad could go out there and hoop. You never know when a guy who was first overall pick we thought was going into one of the best situations ever ends up being on a team that still loses their division. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know what's going to happen. You also never know with injuries and everything like that. So things were tough. Things were definitely tough, but we'll see. And at the end of the NBA season, after the finals are done and everything like that, we're going to do this video again with the NBA season. So let me know what y'all thought, man. But yeah, let's get up out of here. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it helps me out a lot. It would help the channel out a ton. And let me know what type of videos y'all want to see. Let me know how I could be improving this channel because I want to succeed here and I am really, really trying to work really hard to make sure that I do succeed here. So let me know what y'all want to see. Let me know how I can improve this channel. And tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Thank you.